Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 80. LeBron should team up with Steph in Golden State. So guys, in today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, as much as it pains me to say it, because the Golden State Warriors have been probably my least favorite team over the past 10 years or so, and to be honest, I usually don't dislike any teams really, but I do think LeBron would be a great fit in Golden State, playing alongside Steph Curry, and I think doing this might give him his best shot at getting a 5th ring. Whether it's this year or whether he comes back next year, I think it might be a good idea for him to request a trade there. Then I have a clip about horror movies
It's the maniac!
and bad shows and how watching these makes me ruining your happiness, and why I love happy and funny shows and movies. Then I have some clips to talk about health and holistic health and the factor that toxins play, whether when it comes to acne being so prevalent in the West, or the overall role that toxins play when it comes to disease. And then I have a clip on why acting like children is a huge key to happiness as well as mental wellness.
They grow up so fast.
And a clip on why the word healing has become hijacked, and now it often means escapism, as opposed to actually addressing the root cause of your suffering. And it should actually be about being okay with sitting alone versus running away from your challenges. And finally, I talk about the biggest MLB All-Star snubs from this year. So anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper now. Rabbit hole time, let's go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know that, must be now subscribe to the channel so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through by Jared Weiss. All links purchased on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and also make sure to check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt is 100% organic cotton. Every shirt is its own motivational saying, so it's words in it. So what could be better than all that? Anyways, as always, any support at all is very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper now. So the first topic I'm going to be diving into is LeBron James and why I think he'd actually be a great fit in Golden State. Now look, I actually agree with LeBron when it comes to the whole ring culture being largely overblown when it comes to deciding the GOAT.
I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything. Okay, you weren't a great player if you never won a championship.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, the one thing that drives people who say Jordan is the GOAT and not LeBron, and hey, I lean LeBron, but I'm also not a Jordan hater by any stretch of the imagination. But it's whenever you say, well, then I guess Robert Horry or Bill Russell are the GOATs because they have more rings than Jordan and LeBron, this of course drives all the ring people crazy. Of course, Robert Horry was a really great role player who shined in big moments, but I use this example as a reminder to say that basketball is a team game. It's not just one player. I mean, look at the team who LeBron brought to the finals in 2007. Look at LeBron's stats in some of the games that his team lost to Golden State in some of those finals. But then actually compare the rosters. This isn't tennis, it's not golf, it's not just a 1v1 comparison. Basketball, you have 5 players in each team on the court at all times, and Michael Jordan fans have convinced you that it's better to lose in the first round of the playoffs than it is to make 8 straight finals and to lose some of those. I'm not saying that championships don't matter, because they definitely do. I mean, of course, being a champion requires great leadership and making your teammates play above their normal level. But if LeBron can score 40 points, have 14 rebounds, and 11 assists in a playoff loss, then they can't be the only metric we have to measuring individual success. We're talking about best player, not best team. Teams, of course, have to have depth and also intangibles too. All that said though, of course if LeBron does want to solidify his whole GOAT resume, another championship definitely wouldn't hurt his case. And I think, and this is hard for me to say, because Golden State has been one team that I've strongly disliked over the past 10 years, I think that LeBron James should strongly consider requesting a trade to Golden State. Hear me out though. The Lakers don't appear to be playing for right now, and the team of course is building around Luka Doncic, no longer LeBron. The Lakers do look like a good team right now, but don't have enough pieces to compete for a championship in the West in my opinion. The Warriors, on the other hand, do appear to still be all in on Steph Curry. They surrounded him with Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green is still there of course, and they also have a bunch of really good young pieces. And so I think if you add LeBron to that mix, that's definitely a championship team. LeBron and Steph Curry already have the chemistry from the Olympics, and this could be the only team in the current NBA where they don't mind building around the veterans. I say either this year or next year, LeBron should do it if he's serious about winning one final championship run. I think doing this would be a great story and would be a ton of fun to watch too. So let me know your thoughts on this. Am I crazy for thinking this? Should he stay with the Lakers? Should he request trade somewhere else? Oh, and also one more point about the NBA. Bronny's been looking great in Summer League so far. I've been saying this for a while now. I think he's going to be a solid NBA player, and I'm really rooting for him to do that. Next up, I have a clip that talks about why watching horror movies might be stopping your own happiness. And I can totally agree with this. Let's watch together.
I have not watched a horror movie for 15 years. You know what that means? I have not had a nightmare for 15 years. Not a single one. Okay? I have not watched a violent movie unless really badly recommended to me because it has a good message in it. And I watch Michael McIntyre every night before I sleep. But think about that practice. My brain, before I go to sleep, is laughing. That's a choice. That's a choice. And that is the kind of neuroplasticity that we need to shift. If you go to the gym and lift weights every day, you're going to look like a triangle. If you squat every day, you're going to look like a pear. Okay? The same is happening inside your brain. You just don't see it. If you're constantly watching news media, you're literally building your muscles that are concerned and are critical and are worried about the world, when in reality, most of the time, you can't do anything about it.
Very interesting, and I actually fully agree here. And I believe strongly in this sentiment. You guys can make fun of me all you want.
Oh, what a loser!
But I still watch basically all the same shows that I used to watch as a kid and while I was growing up. Like SpongeBob, Victorious, iCarly, Drake and Josh, which is the best show ever. Then of course I also love watching Seinfeld, King of Queens, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Wayans Brothers, etc, etc. But if I'm gonna watch TV shows, I want to laugh and feel good afterwards. I've never watched nor have I ever been into horror movies. Of course I do also love to watch inspiring movies and watch true stories that have really good message to them. Or also superhero movies like The Avengers, or movies like Never Back Down. But the main theme in what I'm saying here is that I don't want to watch a movie or a TV show and then go to sleep feeling fear or this whole fight or flight response. And to be honest, I never really thought about this, but maybe this is a very underrated reason behind my super happy positive mood all the time. I've always been super sensitive, so maybe that's why I don't like watching negative shows or scary movies. I'm very in tune with how things make me feel, so why would I want to watch something that's going to make me feel bad afterwards? Of course there's something to be said for getting a thrill, such as on a roller coaster, which is something I love to do. But all I'm saying is to be aware of these things. See how that show or movie makes you feel, and hey, to each their own, but I have no doubt that the movies and shows that all of us watch could impact our happiness and our mental health, and how you feel about yourself, and how well you sleep. Every single input that goes into our bodies and into our minds, even the visual ones, play a role in both our mental and spiritual health, so be careful with where you're giving your energy to. Next up, I have a clip that talks about health and holistic health and how acne is actually just a problem in the Western world and isn't really an issue in the Eastern world.
How much of acne cannot be cured by food?
I mean, from what I've seen, very, very little, none of it practically. I mean, acne is very much a disease of Western civilization. Okay, so the statistics I just told you, 90 to 95% of teens and say 20 to 50% of adults, depending on the decade. If you go to other countries, it's nothing. It's minuscule. And even if you look historically throughout the US, our acne rates have just risen so dramatically. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
There was 2 different studies in Egypt. So one was in a very rural part of Egypt, and they looked at the prevalence of skin diseases amongst teenagers, and I think maybe under 21 or something like that. Their rate of acne was 2%. It's 2.5%, okay? Amongst thousands of people living in this area, which is crazy. But if you went to one of the major cities, Cairo, where they do have access to processed foods and probably a more stressful lifestyle, it was more 65%, right? So it's not a genetic thing. It's a diet and lifestyle thing. And even there's been studies where researchers have went to more remote parts of the world, like Papua New Guinea and Kitava Island, these small places where people really maintain a traditional diet of whole foods. They're eating vegetables and roots and fish and meat, and that's it. They're not eating processed foods. It's non-existent. Even amongst young people, teens to adults, it's literally non-existent.
So it's not genetic?
No. We've been studying genes for how many decades, and an acne gene has never been found. If there is a family that has acne, the parents have it and the children have it, it's more likely because they're eating the same foods and living a similar diet and lifestyle.
Now, as I've spoken about plenty of times in the past, I'm a huge believer in holistic health.
Body, and mind. He's holistic.
and understanding what actually causes illness. Now, acne, of course, is a skin manifestation that I believe from my own research actually starts in the gut. So, like, if you would have clear and healthy skin, that's going to start with what you're eating, how well you're hydrating, and everything that, like, you're putting into your body. You can use all the lotions and all the creams and all the chemicals, or do all the injections, but if you have, like, a toxic and unhealthy gut, and don't treat your internal environment right, this will show up in your skin, and it will lead to other health issues as well. Western medicine, as we know, is taught like to fragment everything. A pill for this, a lotion for that. This one thing is causing this whole health issue. But like with all of my research, as well as my whole experience on my healing journey from a life-threatening illness, after going to so many different doctors who had no clue what was going on and like who weren't able to help me, and who basically just like told me that like I was gonna have to live with all these health challenges forever.
Extract the patient to the hallway. Stat!
I discovered holistic health and realized that like it's all connected. You can't just like isolate any one body part or any one organ. It's all connected. The medicines you take, the food you eat, what you watch on TV, the music you listen to, the friends you choose to hang out with. That can all have an impact on your overall health. And this is why, as she says, acne is oftentimes just like a Western health issue. Because of all the toxins in our medicine, and because of all the toxins in our food supply, and all the chemicals that get allowed. When all those inputs come in, they have to have an output. So our bodies will actually store these toxins in the skin, which is like essentially what acne is. And this leads me into the next clip, coming from Jay Shetty, where he was talking about toxins and like understanding the role that like they play in our overall health.
What are the signs that we have too many toxins in our body?
It's usually you're just not feeling good. Okay. And one thing I do want to emphasize is that our body is incredibly resilient. By the time you feel something, it's usually later on in the process of accumulation. Okay. So you don't want to wait till you start feeling something. You want to start making these mini changes now so you stay healthier for the long term. Some of the symptoms of toxin accumulation include brain fog, include allergy symptoms. Your skin has eczema. You can have fatigue, not sleeping well. These are all symptoms that if you go to a doctor, they're like, I don't really know what's going on. Really, toxin accumulation needs to be the fourth leg of that stool that we always talk about of health, right? We have sleep, we have exercise, we have our nutrition. Toxins is that fourth leg that we need to start mitigating on so that we stay healthy for the long term.
Well said, and like I totally agree from my own experience. So now like another key that I've understood while healing from a life-threatening illness and doing all my own research in order to help myself, as well as being guided by some like top naturopaths, is the importance of detoxification, improving lymphatic drainage. This includes heavy metal detox and other physical toxins as well. It also includes toxic thoughts and toxic friendships too. As I'm constantly saying, every input matters. And a lot of people out there don't know the sources of these toxins and where they're actually coming from. And some I probably can't talk about here without getting flagged. But I will say like medication and pharmaceuticals are a huge one, as well as pesticides and herbicides and our whole food supply as well. And this is why I believe like it's more important now than ever to be buying organic. There is a difference there. And it still doesn't make sense to me why it costs less to buy chemical-laden science experiments, basically, than it is like to buy pure 1 or 2 ingredient foods.
It just don't add up!
But this is essential so that like our bodies don't accumulate toxicity. And of course, having something that's like not like 100% perfect every once in a while, every now and then, is fine because as he said, our bodies are pretty resilient. But as I know from my own case, some of these things like we don't even know about, or certain things like we're not even thinking about, will add massive toxins to our bodies, and certain other things are actually going to impair our body's drainage pathways. And this is why we have to be our own best health advocates and do all the research to go down these rabbit holes ourselves. And then remember that like healing takes time, as I know from my own experience once again. It takes a ton of trial and error, and it's a whole learning experience. But detoxing the body and mind is key, and maybe be like the most important reason why I've been able to make so much progress up to this point, and why I believe like I'm actually so close to being fully healed. Next, I have a clip that talks about why the happiest people act like children. Let me explain.
The people that are having the most fun, like the people that look like they're having the most fun and they're like living their lives, don't give a fuck vibe, energy, all the things, they are acting like children. And I don't mean immature and like throwing tantrums. I mean, they're just letting themselves just be free exactly as they're meant to be. No filter, no like societal barriers telling them not to dance in public or telling them not to make that goofy voice and all of the things. And it's so crazy because you see it on TikTok too. It's like these guys that are dancing like, I mean, some people might make fun of them. Who gives a fuck? They're so happy. And the girls that are just like talking their ideas into the phone, like me right now. And I just love that TikTok is a safe space for that. And I think it is bringing it more into the world. So be yourself, be free, be a kid.
Now I can attest this from my own experience as someone who's like 1,000% a kid at heart and will not change that about myself. When people grow up so often, they think like everything has to be so serious now. Or like the only way to have fun is to get hammered and to get drunk or to binge eat. But what if like that's not the only way? And actually far from the best way.
When the truth is, we're not like them, and I am damn proud of that fact.
No judgment, as I always say, to each their own. But I think like a huge key to happiness is to never stop playing games. Don't stop being creative. Not everything has to be like all structured. Be silly, don't be afraid to dance and sing. And no matter what age you are, why do any of these things like have to be off limits? Why does being a quote unquote grown up mean that like you can't have good clean fun anymore? Why not stay a kid at heart? And that's shit, like this doesn't mean being immature and not taking care of all your responsibilities, but get back to like all the things like we used to love to do as kids, or just like never stop doing those things in the first place. And hopefully you can find friends who are the same way. So no matter what age you are in life, no matter what stage you're in, don't forget to set aside time for play and creativity, for art, for music, for sports. These are all crucial things for our mental wellness. Next we have a clip that talks about the truth about self-love and self-care and healing, and why the word healing has actually been hijacked.
I thought loving myself was going to the gym, traveling, going to places. I'm like, oh my God, look at how much I love myself. Look at my life. That's not self-love. That is taking care of the physical experience of life, the 3D experience of life. This is traveling, okay, it's great. But when I come back from that destination, guess what? I'm sitting with my traumas again. Buying things is great, but when I come back home and I'm bored of them and I don't want to use them anymore, the car, the house and everything, I am that broken person still. So there's nothing wrong with being broken. Healing means I love myself enough to close a chapter and start a new one. I honor myself enough to actually not just save and help everyone, not start a charity and foundation to help people. Because if I'm not starting with me, how am I pouring from an empty cup? It doesn't make sense. So there's nothing wrong with healing. But I do understand how the word healing became such a abused word. It's everywhere on Instagram. It's in everyone's bio. It's everyone's tattoo. But it's way deeper than these superficial things. And there's nothing wrong with being broken.
So this is like a really interesting perspective shift. Now I do think healing in the true sense of the word is essential for all of us. However, like I do agree that like the word has been hijacked. So now it can mean so many different things. And of course, for each person, it can mean something different. And like, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. But I think like the main point she's making here is that healing doesn't mean avoiding what's wrong and escaping it.
If she can't find me, she can't break up with me.
But actually going into it and going through it. Healing doesn't always feel good or feel easy. It's like, as I was talking about earlier, a huge factor for me as I've been on my own healing journey has been detoxing. Unfortunately, detoxing doesn't always feel good and like it's not always easy. It's one of those things where sometimes you feel worse before you feel better. And it can definitely be a struggle at times. And healing from anything can be an uphill battle. So as said, it's not just about like the whole 3D experience, but are we healing within? Are we able to like sit alone with our thoughts and with all of our emotions? Are we strong enough to remove toxic people from our lives? Can we find time or make time for silence and gratitude and for our emotional health? All those things matter just as much. Now I do believe our physical matters a ton too. So going to the gym, eating right are of course pivotal and like absolutely essential. But these days a lot of people abuse the word healing to mean going out all the time and partying, or as she said, traveling to get away from the problems and never actually addressing what's bothering you, but just like constantly escaping. And if you don't address what's causing the turmoil or problems, they're only going to grow in size. They're not going to disappear. So very interesting points made and like very interesting perspective to think about. Now finally in this week's episode, I want to talk about the biggest MLB All-Star Game snubs from this year's game. So these are like the current rosters as they are. In the American League, you have Cal Raleigh, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Gleyber Torres, Jose Ramirez, Jacob Wilson, Aaron Judge, Riley Green, Javier Baez, Ryan O'Hearn, Alejandro Kirk, Jonathan Arenado, Alex Bregman, Jazz Chisholm, Brandon Lau, Jeremy Pena, Bobby Witt Jr., Byron Buxton, Stephen Kwan, Julio Rodriguez, and Brent Rooker. And then the pitchers are Hunter Brown, Chris Bubick, Garrett Crochet, Jacob deGrom, Max Fried, Yusei Kikuchi, Tarek Skubal, Shane Smith, Brian Wu, Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader, and Andres Munoz. And in the National League, it's Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Ketel Marte, Manny Machado, Francisco Lindor, Ronald Acuna, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Shohei Ohtani, Hunter Goodman, Pete Alonso, Ellie De La Cruz, Brendan Donovan, Matt Olson, Eugenio Suarez, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Stowers, Fernando Tatis Jr., James Wood, Kyle Schwarber. Then the pitchers are Matthew Boyd, Mackenzie Gore, Clayton Kershaw, Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray, Chris Sale, Paul Skeens, Logan Webb, Zach Wheeler, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Jason Adam, Evan Diaz, and Randy Rodriguez. And of course, the most challenging part when it comes to talking about snubs is that, like, in order for that player to make it, someone else would have to get left off the team. And also, like, the MLB All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby and, like, the whole events might still be the best and most competitive out of all the pro sports leagues All-Star Games. So anyways, my biggest All-Star snubs from this year were first off George Springer. He's currently on, like, an absolute tear at the time of filming, with home runs in, like, 5 or 6 straight games, and he's leading the search for the Blue Jays. His OPS is 886, he has almost 60 RBIs, and he's overall, like, a top 5 offensive player in the American League, behind Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge in a bunch of these offensive categories. Next up, we have Trey Turner in the NL, who as always is a hit machine, currently batting just around 300, with 11 homers and 22 stolen bases at the time of filming. Next up, and I've seen, like, a lot of people say, like, this is actually the biggest All-Star snub, is Juan Soto of the Mets. Now, of course, he got off to a slow start this year after signing his $765 million contract, but since then, he's actually lived up to it. He currently has 21 home runs and an above 900 OPS, which is insane, with 10 plus steals and over 50 RBIs. Now on to the pitchers, we have Framber Valdez of the Astros, who has 2.9 ERA, with a 1.15 whip, and 115 strikeouts currently. Those aren't just, like, all-star numbers, those are, like, potential Cy Young numbers. Not sure what the voters are missing there. There's also Ranger Suarez, pitcher of the Phillies, who has a less than 2 ERA and a 1.03 whip, although, like, he doesn't have as many innings as some of the other pitchers do, but those numbers are basically unhittable. And finally, there's also Nathan Eovaldi, pitcher of the Texas Rangers, who in his age 35 season is still, like, as effective as ever. He has a 1.75 ERA and a .85 whip with 80 strikeouts. His only blemish being, like, he's missed a few starts this year due to injury. But those numbers are, like, insane. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed all the topics. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of the topics I spoke about in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding. Catch you next time. Peace.